Hello and a very warm welcome to Forbes India Presents Business Lodestones. I'm Mugdha Kalra, and today we are diving into a conversation that sits right at the intersection of leadership, technology, and human possibility. We're joined by two global visionaries shaping the future of enterprises. Manas Human, CEO and co-founder of Nagarro, who has championed the idea of the fluidic enterprise. And Vala Afshar, Chief Digital Evangelist at Salesforce, whose work and writing in his books Boundless and Autonomous challenge us to imagine organizations without limits. Well, together we will explore what it really takes to build enterprises that are not only agile, but also empathetic, not only digital, but also deeply human. In a world where change is constant, what does it mean to design businesses that are fluid, boundless, autonomous, and why does it matter now more than ever? Welcome, gentlemen. I'm so excited to have this conversation with the two of you.
Really excited to be here and really excited to be here with Vala. Really a privilege.
Thank you so much. The privilege is mine. Thank you. Thank you both.
So Vala, in Boundless and your upcoming book, Autonomous, you write about organizations thriving without limits. And Manas, Nagarro talks about the fluidic enterprises. How do these visions align and why do they matter now more than ever? Vala, you first.
Oh, thank you so much for referencing my work. I read to improve my writing. I write to improve my thinking. So over the last decade, I've purposefully tried to capture my observations and my lessons learned, including lessons from Manas and Nagarro, an incredible company that's helping organizations be more adaptive, more agile, more human-centric, more empathetic. It was Albert Einstein who said nothing happens until something moves. Companies like Nagarro and Salesforce are partnering together to help organizations move, to deliberately remove friction, to reach their boundless potential. And I am an immigrant refugee. So I grew up with a silo mentality. And I'm not speaking on behalf of all immigrants, but whether it was my parents, my teachers, my colleagues, for the vast majority of my life, I had, again, a silo mentality: capture resources, hold on to those resources, and try to extract as much value from those resources. Get a good education and a good degree, get a good job, a good title, get headcount, get budget. It was all about capturing and accumulating. And silos, in my opinion, given today's velocity of innovation, both speed and direction, can be very dangerous, not only to individuals in terms of their careers and their ability to create value, but also companies. I believe that companies have the biggest threat in an intelligence economy if they've suffered from silos, silo mindset, silo structures, how they capture, store, and extract value. And what Nagarro has been doing since its inception from 2020 on is to create healthy movement. I love fluidic enterprise because it's all about healthy flow. And this is what we're ultimately trying to achieve with our ecosystem of customers and employees and partners: create healthy flows so we can create value at the speed of need. And companies like Nagarro are leading this innovation landscape in terms of leveraging technologies like artificial intelligence to create incredible flow.
Manas, I have in front of me what makes a fluidic enterprise with efficiency, intimacy, responsive, sustainability, and creativity. It's a beautiful image with all the touch points. What, according to you, is the one that you will put right at the top when we are talking about fluidic enterprise? Because we did speak about silo mindsets and silo structures, and I think those need to be broken for people to come together and embrace the possibility that AI is offering to them. But which touch point in this beautiful image stands out the most for you?
See, I think for me, what stands out is intelligence. And I think the whole idea of fluidic is to bring up, to combine, and to deploy the combined human and machine intelligence that the organization has, that its ecosystem has, to build something that's an organization that's infinitely flexible, infinitely adaptive, and infinitely efficient. So I think that this intelligence coming to the fore is really important. And intelligence versus control, intelligence versus silos, it's the win of intelligence, I think, is what Fluidic is all about. And my personal journey to this is nearly 25 years old. I began consulting in companies that were well established, but even as a 25-year-old, going into these companies, you could see that there was, of course, room to improve different functions. There was room to optimize, one part of the equation. But the real opportunities lay in the fact that the organization as a whole could be optimized along certain dimensions in much better ways. So the silos of hierarchy that were making it more efficient, in some ways, were actually crippling it in some other directions, in some other dimensions. As we were building Nagarro, as we were building this thing we call Ginger, we were just trying to aim for this idealization where the real intelligence, combined intelligence of the company is synergistic and not actually decreased by just having so many different points where it's arising from. And I think today with AI and the power of AI and the power harnessed with the power of the humans that we already have, that looks a lot more doable with agentic AI and all this future that is ahead of us. And I think that we are just extremely excited at bringing this intelligence to bear. So if I had to pick a word from that picture, it would be intelligence.
Vala, would you agree that when we are looking at the new enterprises, the future enterprises, while intelligence is something that one has to embrace about working not in silos, adapting, change is the only constant, as we say, but then there are legacy systems. And then we are looking at future enterprises. The legacy systems come with their own set of positives. And a lot of times we are seeing people and companies that are rooted in those legacy systems take very calculated risk. But is it the time to take calculated risks or go with the flow? Because again, then it becomes about, are you reacting to it or are you shaping it?
This is a time to be bold and to be courageous. When we talk about fluidic enterprise, the first core principle we talk about is human-centric. This is about augmenting human intelligence to reach your boundless potential. That the most important technology of my lifetime is artificial intelligence. So this is electricity for the 21st century. If companies ignore the innovation in this all-encompassing category we called AI, which is machine learning, neural networks, smart visioning, computer visioning, robotics, agentic, there's all these derivative capabilities under the umbrella AI. Companies will not be able to compete in this hyper-connected knowledge-sharing economy. So without a fluidic enterprise roadmap, it's my core belief that you will not be able to thrive and grow. So yes, this is the most important time in the history of technology, based on my experience. And so you need to have courage, you need to have a sense of urgency, you need to have a beginner's mindset. This is the time where you have to stay teachable, and you have to surround yourself with individuals who are supportive truth tellers that can together help you, your organization, your customers thrive and reach their balanced potential. So this is, I think, the most important time for business leaders to really double down on what will be electricity for the 21st century.
Manas, everybody uses the word agility these days, and I see at Nagarro also you emphasize on the word agility, but I wonder, when we talk about future enterprises, do all enterprises, do they understand what the word agility actually stands for? It is such a word which can be interpreted in so many different ways, but what does being agile for a future enterprise actually mean for you?
I think that agility in that sense is a bit like I don't know, health, where health has a certain meaning, but of course, health has different interpretations for different people. And I think agile in that way is some sort of an aspiration, and then different people interpret it differently. For ourselves, we came out of a group that was widely influenced by agile and by Ward Cunningham, the inventor of the wiki. He was sharing an office with us, and he's one of the people who signed on the Agile Manifesto. So that whole idea of enterprise agile, which at one time seemed like an oxymoron, enterprise is very mission critical and robust, and agile was more for the .coms of the day. But that's the history for us. But I think today, what our idea is that the world is changing dramatically. It's changing, of course, in terms of just the demographics, is changing in terms of the geopolitics, is changing in terms of the economics, the macroeconomics, is changing in terms of the trade tensions and supply chains and all of that, and technology. If all of that was not enough, you have the technological changes. And I think in all of that, it's really important to have a concept by which you think about change. And the concept is a little bit of a combination of this agile pilot and try and experiment and build upon the pilot. And at the same time, with the view that your second pilot and your third pilot, they should have lower marginal cost. So you're building by pilots, but you are constantly building infrastructure that you're allowed to, that you can leverage later, right? So when you think about the opportunities of technology present to you, I think we at Nagarro have a concept around this fluidic enterprise that we can take to our clients and allow them to really address this, the need for agility in a structured way. That's kind of where we are coming from.
And I meet so many leaders, who at the very outset talk about embracing it, but nobody really talks about the challenge that comes with embracing the new tech. It's almost like you're not embracing, but you are forced to take charge of it sooner than later. How do you advise leaders today navigate through that? And what do you write in your book? We want to have a sneak peek of that as well.
In Boundless, my co-author Henry King and I identified 7 design principles for readiness to reach your boundless potential. It started with deliberate understanding of the connections, the systems, the people, the stakeholders that you need to connect with. Integration, one of the fluidic enterprise core values is seamless integration to remove silos and create a frictionless environment. Then distribution was consideration of a design. Once you connect and you integrate, what value, what insights, what information are you distributing to your connections? Mobility, continuity, autonomy, and then lastly, shared success. These were the 7 design principles. I think shared success was perhaps the most important, because it's not, as Manas said, it's not about control anymore. It's about collaboration. It's about co-creation. It's not a zero-sum mindset. And so you have to think deliberately in terms of reciprocity of value and focusing on value, which is another fluidic enterprise core principle, is ability to deliver value at the speed of need, and that reciprocity and healthy flow of value that has to be bidirectional. So my book in 2023, Boundless, was really about mindset. Because I don't believe it's not technology that disrupts, it's not companies that disrupt, it's people that disrupt. And if your people don't have the right mindset, the right lens, then they're not positioned to take advantage of great technology. Now, the book that's coming out in September called Autonomous, after researching what it means to reach your full potential, I realized over the last 2 years that we are the last generation to only manage humans. We now have companies with digital labor. Nagarro is implementing AI agents. These are smart software that's not designed to help humans do the job. The software can do the job itself. It has incredible language understanding. It has reasoning logic. It has the ability to execute, and it's constantly getting smarter. So now we have digital labor. And the only way companies can reach nonlinear potentiality and outcome is when they have human and digital labor combined. And I'll give you an example. My headquarters is in San Francisco. It's amazing when you're in San Francisco, you see these cars driving, hundreds of them, driving around the city without a driver. They're Waymo cars, Waymos. And the first time you get into a Waymo, it's scary. I have to tell you, even as an engineer, this is the whole thing about AI. It's exciting and scary because we haven't experienced these superpowers in our lifetime. Well, Waymo was founded in 2017. Until December of 2024, they did their first 5 million rides. Since January of this year, they've done their next 5 million rides. Waymo just surpassed 10 million rides in San Francisco. So much so that Waymo is doing more rides than Lyft. Now, what's interesting is there's 45,000 Lyft drivers and there's only 300 Waymo. So one Waymo is equivalent to 150 human drivers of Lyft. This is why the company is forecasted to be valued possibly 800 billion in the next 3 to 4 years. But it's a reminder to, by the way, Amazon has the Zoox, Tesla has the Cybercab, RoboCab.
Right.
All these car manufacturers, Nagarro is headquarters in Munich. There'll be the automotive annual show in Munich in September. You're going to see all these cars showing their autonomous capabilities. So what Nagarro and Salesforce have recognized is that we're also building self-driving businesses, not just self-driving cars, the physical AI manifestation, which we call the fourth wave of AI, but we're using digital labor to create autonomy in sales, in service, in marketing, in commerce, in human resources, in manufacturing, your entire business. And this is an incredible inflection point because the healthiest companies in the 21st century are going to be autonomous companies, companies that take advantage of human and digital labor powered by agentic and physical AI to create value at boundless capacity.
Manas, but I always wonder, can you really imagine a future enterprise where the shared success is both for the technology and for the humans? Can you prioritize both in the same sentence? How much are you going to concentrate on your human capacity and what are you allowing to be automated? Is there a balance?
Two things here. I think that the invention, the imagination, the empathizing, the entrepreneurial bets will for a long time be human, right? The big bets, the imagination, the invention will be human. And I think that is true at every scale. It may be at project scale, it may be at company scale, it may be at societal scale. I think there's a lot of work that is going to happen in that area. I think the prepping ourselves up for this new world is also a very large area, and there'll be a lot of work involved in creating the data and the platforms for this new world. But I think also we will be doing a lot more. When you had, let's say we are back in Egypt when the pyramids are being built, when you need 1,000 laborers to move a block of stone for the pyramids, for example, right? And so your ambitions are great, but they are like a couple of pyramids, right? And now if you look at the new world with cities sprout up in a couple of years, so the imagination of what we would want to do will also grow, whether it's in terms of health for human beings, whether it's in terms of what we do in space exploration, whether it's in terms of other areas. So I think that one has to take a holistic view. Things don't change from one day to the other. I hope that societies and companies will do a good job in helping transition people to more value-added, more modern roles. But I think that this is a mix of these different factors, that things don't change in a second. There will be a lot of work. There will be new work. And we are already using a lot of machines. I mean, I think what we all forget is already most of what we do is supported by complex systems that build our automobiles, that build our aircraft. We just take a flight. We don't worry about all the orchestration that takes place behind it. So I think this is just one more step in that.
Leaders are not in a good space, Vala. I have to say that they will get accused of whatever they do. They will get accused of that they lack empathy. How in these times do they strive to be empathetic while being ambitious? And do you have nuggets in your books about that?
It's a great question you ask with regards to empathy. I've had the good fortune in my career to have had incredible leaders shape my thinking, shape my core values. Trust must be your number one core value. We build relationships, long-lasting relationships with individuals, companies, brands that we trust. Trust is competence plus character. Competence, you have to be capable and you have to be reliable. You have to constantly show that you're reliable and you deliver on your promises, and you have the capability to meet your promises. And then character is integrity and benevolence. I love the word benevolence. When your thoughts, your words, and your actions are aligned, when you are authentic, when you share your motivation behind the decisions that you make. What are you motivated about when you bring a product or service to market, or when you write a blog or write a book, or the next time you post on LinkedIn or X or whatever social network that is part of your digital footprint? What motivates you? I think if your leadership is motivated by educating, by inspiring, by igniting positive action that can help grow future leaders, then I think you're doing a good job. So at my company, trust is the number one core value, followed by customer success, and then innovation, sustainability, and equality. So I think it's important to have a compass. It's important to have your core values. And, I am an optimist. So I think many more jobs are going to be created. I consider it wasteful for humans to be assigned repetitive tasks, mundane tasks, and all waste has a cost associated with it. Now, not all costs are wasteful, but all waste is costly. So imagine spending your career doing tasks that, remove the joy that you have being part of a company like Nagarro or Salesforce. So you're right, this is an opportunity for us to be more creative, more bold, to experiment more, to invest in ourselves more. So I think that the pessimists sound smarter, but in the long run, it's the optimists that shape the future. So as much as I said, the technology is exciting, but it's also scary. So as long as you come to the table with the right attitude, with focusing on trust and stakeholder success, I think we're going to have a beautiful future, and I'm so happy to be, part of this journey.
Manas, when we talk about leadership, what, according to you, are some of the things that the modern leaders need to unlearn in this digital transformation? Or perhaps what are the misconceptions that companies have that at a senior level and at the leadership level that needs to be addressed?
One of the challenges we all face in imagining digital transformation is that we are so rooted in our current realities that we are very tentative about what we can achieve. So I think the one thing, I won't say to unlearn, but the one thing that would add a perspective, a valuable perspective, would be to dream of the ideal Hollywood style life, right? See, if you go into a restaurant, or you go into a school, or you go into a movie theater, or you go to pretty much any experience, what strikes me is that if you filmed that experience in black and white, it would look just like it was 50, 100 years ago. Nothing much has really changed. And I think a lot of that is because even though technology is available on our phones and on our laptops, but we have not really used it to significantly improve our dining experience, our schooling experience, our healthcare experiences, or pick any topic, any area of our experiences. So I think that if leaders can, at least from time to time, instead of imagining digital transformation from their current reality outwards, if they can just visualize what an idealized Hollywood style experience would look like and work backwards to see, how can we make that real, right? I think that would be that's something we try to do. And I think that's something that would really help leaders in this digital transformation.
Wonderful, gentlemen. Before I let you go, I have to ask you one personal question. How do you keep up with tech? Number one. And second, what is that one daily habit that you are really proud of, which has contributed to your productivity? Vala.
The biggest influence in life is habit. If you want better outcomes, you need to develop better habits. For me, developing a habit of staying teachable was an important muscle for me to develop, especially over the last decade. I joined Salesforce 10 years ago. And when I joined Salesforce, I realized I am joining one of the most innovative companies on earth. So I needed to perform like an athlete. So part of being a better athlete in a very innovative company is to develop certain skills. For me, it was reading more deliberately and more frequently, writing. I absolutely developed my writing muscle. It's amazing. You think you know a lot until you learn a little. The process of sitting down and writing, very quickly you realize you need domain expertise, you need certain novelty, unique point of view, you need a quiet mind. There's all these things you need to be able to write well.
Quiet mind you talk about.
Quiet mind. And it's really hard to have a quiet mind in a noisy world that we live in. In a world where you have convergence of uncertainty, you really have to be grounded. And I think reading and writing, and then the last thing I would say, and this speaks to the fluidic enterprise, because it's about movement. It's okay for you to read and write, but really the last step is sharing your knowledge. When Manis gives keynotes or he's doing this podcast or he's writing, he's taking his shared wisdom and he's sharing it with the world. And that human-centric approach of making sure that when you learn something, you share, that's been the best way for me to stay teachable and for me to better understand all these changes that are happening. I find myself a synthesizer. I find myself trying to connect the dots to be able to determine what tomorrow may look like. So I would recommend to the viewers, read as much as you can, write even more, and then when you do, make sure you share your thoughts with the broader community so that we can all take advantage of the wisdom of the crowd. This is a journey where we all need to be helping each other, and the smartest person in the room is the room itself. So approach it with humility and grace.
Wonderful. I have quite a few nuggets here and can't wait to hear from Manis.
All of us are, as human beings, even as babies, are curious. But as we grow older, we become a little bit more fearful and tentative about giving into our curiosity. Maybe we feel, there's a time element to it. Maybe there's a fear of the unknown. I just would recommend to everyone, just give in to your curiosity. It's there in you. You just have to give in to it. I think that the question of habit is a very nice one. There's, by the way, a very good book called Atomic Habits, which if you haven't read it, you should read it. I would say a couple of habits that I think I'm happy about. One is that if I have any time and I just turn on the television, I'm usually digging to some video that is informative or educational, whether it's about quantum theory or something even disconnected from what I'm doing. I just love to. I'm surprised at myself because when I was in school, I wasn't really like this. But as I've grown older, I find myself very curious about a lot of different things. So that's one. The second habit I would say is, if you hear about a book, just buy it. That is the best investment you will make. So buy Boundless, buy Autonomous, buy Atomic Habits. And so I had this one thing in my mind because I once did not buy a book that I was told about and later regretted because I read it several years later and said, damn, I wish I read it earlier. I think if you hear about a book, just buy it. It's the best investment you can ever make.
I completely agree with you, Manas. They say the book comes to you at the right point in time, and that's when you need to grab it. Gentlemen, what an insightful journey into the future of enterprises, and what insightful conversation that I had with the two of you. What a pleasure. Thank you so much for giving me your time.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Well, you were watching Forbes India presents Business Lodestone. I'm Mugdha Kalra, and I hope you are walking away with as many questions as answers, because that's what great conversations do. They spark curiosity, courage, and action. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep building fearlessly for the future.